that's another thing as well. I think that all the stuff that I've only just researched things very briefly on the internet about all the different ideas about how to deal with this. Almost all of them start off with the same facts, the same idea that climate change, nobody's denying climate change anymore, that no one reasonable that I know of anyway. And, each of these individual ideas aim at reducing flooding, which is quite topical at the minute, given that we've got floods all around here. I don't know about up where you are, but here we have, biodiversity conservation, all that. So there must be, at this point, there must be a crossover of certain things, and that everyone seems to agree on, because most of the ways of dealing with it seem to be the same. So I was a bit confused actually as well, which is why I'm doing these interviews, as to actually where the differences are, which is why I was hoping, at some point after this, I'll be able to discern the difference between the three of them, because, it seems to be at the minute, most of the stuff in most of the reports is the same. Obviously, there's small differences here and there, but, generally everyone seems to be roughly on the same path, at least, which is kind of good, or at least I hope, unless there's people out there and then groups out there who are going on a completely opposite direction. But yeah, I don't know. Have you found that or not?
Yeah. So I think there's a general acceptance in the farming and land management community, and that think that changes need to take place in order to reduce emissions. I think there's a number of different ways to do that and address a host of these other issues. I think the disagreement is how it's implemented and what the implications are for how serious the implications are, and how large scale those changes need to be. Whether they're just targeted, in certain areas and just about kind of slightly changing the incentives for land managers, or whether they're about larger scale changes and more serious changes in the composition of land use and habitat that we have in the UK. So it's probably more of a matter of extent now in terms of the disagreements, between our own position. Obviously is informed also by the fact that we believe that an element of fairness, according to vegan philosophy, it's not fair to exploit animals in these ways. So obviously a fair and sustainable system for us means one without animals. And so going that extra step and saying, no, it's an animal-free system that we think we need, I think does require a slightly different set of beliefs, and obviously not all organizations share that at the moment.
Sure, that's all right. No, I mean, it seems, as I say, I'm pretty hopeful at this point. I mean, maybe it's misjudged, but it seems to be that, there's, and as I said, I drove in this morning, there was two guys out planting trees down the road here. So we planted a load last week. So, I can see there is a lot of changes around here already. I mean, on the roadside verges, there seems to be sort of buffer strips of trees going in all over the place, and obviously, up here we're quite lucky, given that we're quite an affluent area, and obviously, I don't think agriculture is a major part of the economy here as it might be in other parts of the country. But yeah, I mean, it's I sort of see the changes happening very slowly around us, but I mean, hopefully.
Great. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm optimistic as well, and I'm glad to hear those things are happening locally. Yeah, I think there's definitely cause for optimism.